Welcome back to Painted Studio. We are going to take a little canvas like this and turn it into a little something special for the holidays, either a door hanger or an ornament that's kind of heavy, but we're going to take you through it step by step. So first you'd use a 4x4 inch pre-stretched canvas. You can get these at Michael's. They're running a special right now. And they are primed and with gesso, so you don't have to worry about that. And we're going to take some of our Roberson's liquid metal in silver, which actually reads very pearly, and we're going to coat the whole thing. I got a little crumb of something in there. Now I am working to make these nice and smooth. And while Roberson's does have excellent self-leveling properties on canvas, if you want it smooth, you have to work it a little bit. So I'm going to go around all four of my edges first. I don't want to leave a big globby streak of paint there. I want to come back in, smooth it out. And I'm going to get all four edges. Now these are fun and easy little things to work on. The canvases are very small. Then we set it down like that, and we're going to paint the canvas itself, the front of the canvas. And I just keep working it back and forth until there's no brush marks. I get my edges. Now, if there were brush marks, it wouldn't make that big a difference in what we're doing here, but I'm a creature of habit, so I try not to have brush marks. All right, so we're going to set this one aside. So that is the primed paint layer. Now we have one here that I did, and it's already dry. Let me close up this jar so I don't spill it. And we're going to come in with our twinkle. Again, this is a Roberson's liquid metal color. It looks white, but it actually has a little bit of a gold glitter to it. Now this one is very sheer, so don't expect coverage from this, expect an effect. And it's going to be hard to see it as I'm first doing it, but as it dries, it's going to pick up that gold. And it might pick up a little bit of it on the camera, but I'm not sure. Because if it doesn't show it a whole lot to me, it may not show it a whole lot to you here. Okay, I'm going to get all four of those edges done. Brush them out, make sure they're complete. Drop the canvas down and come back in and brush it over the entire surface. Again, working to smooth it. And that layer is done as well. Now, if you want to see what the difference between the two are, let me move the jar here. Let me show you. Okay, here is, I'll move this out of the way, bring the silver one back. Here is the canvas that is just the liquid metal and silver, and then here it is with the twinkle. And if you look at it, this one is very smooth, very silvery pearly. This one has a bit of a golden glitter to it. And I like that for under what we're going to do next. So I'm going to set the glittery twinkled coated one to the side. We're going to take some Artsyville bead gel. Now, if your bead gel gets a little dry, because mine's been sitting in here for a while, take a little mist of water, spray it in, and then give it a stir. And you just want to make sure it's nice and liquid for what you want. You don't want it, runny, but you just don't want it too dried out. And that happens. I just forgot to put some press and seal on here, so I'm just spritzing a little water in. Now this would be gorgeous on its own, and if you noticed, I actually had some of the mixture that I used on the one I showed at the beginning of the video already in here. We're going to add a little more product in here once I get this to the consistency that makes me happy. I'm going to add a little bit of gold glitter. I'm going to add some mica flakes. And all of these products you can get through me at Painted Studio. If I don't have them on hand, I will bring them in because I have run out of them. And this is our gold dust. I don't want to add a lot. I don't want to make this like a solid color. I want to make this an enhancement. Now, I personally think maybe on the one I've already almost completed, I might have added a little too much stuff, so I'm making this one a little less. I want a little less drama. I want this more background. And I think I'm just going to add a little more gold dust to it, and that'll be it. Now, this is going to be enough to complete all of the ones that I have set over here. So I will make sure to put some press and seal over this so I'm not wasting it. All right, so let's take this back here and a little smudge of something on here. That's what I thought. It was a little bit of paper got stuck to it. All right, so just like we did with everything else, first you're going to do the sides. Now you can use a palette knife, you can use an old hotel room key, you can use a trowel, whatever you happen to have. I had a palette knife, which I find works very much more comfortably for me when I'm doing a surface this small. And I'm going to smooth it across the entire surface. And if you notice, I really am smoothing it like I'm frosting a cake. You cannot scrape this because if you get on an edge here, and you can scrape the beads and they will leave trail marks, like little scrape marks through the whole thing. So be aware of that. I'll probably do it at least once as I do this, so you'll see what I mean. That is what happens right there, that scrape of the product through there. That's what happens if you're too aggressively applying this with a trowel or any other tool. You have to really smooth it on and try to get it only as thick as one glass bead that's in here, or one piece of the mica or something. You don't want it on super thick because super thick becomes chunky and awkward looking, and you don't get the color underneath here shining through, which you want. Because while this looks like it's white going on here, it's actually translucent, and so your undercolors make a huge, huge, huge difference. Which is why I put that twinkle on, because the twinkle will shine through the glass beads and add some depth. Let's smooth this. And I'm also working not to leave ridge marks. It looks better. Even when it's dry, the ridge marks might tighten down a little bit, but it just looks better if I can get this on as smoothly as possible. And it takes practice. Don't be afraid if you know, it doesn't, I might make it look a little easier than it is because I've troweled this stuff for years. I've done it on big surfaces, on walls, and all kinds of stuff. So I have a lot of practice with this. Don't get frustrated. Just take your time with it. And if it's not perfect, who's going to know but you? If it doesn't come out the way you want it, as long as you don't tell somebody, they don't know. Okay, let's get that on there. All right, so I've got all 4 sides done. Again, taking it, setting it down. I'm going to trowel it over the top. Now this is a little easier to do. The troweling stuff like this is hard to do on a big canvas because big canvases bow really easily. On a small one like this, the stretchers underneath are almost completely covering the canvas, so it's not that bad. You don't have so much bowing. So let's get everything covered. Oh, that's going on nicely. I just got to get my edges and smooth everything. And if you get a blob on here that you don't like and it's already dried, hit it with a little sandpaper or even a little nipper, and you can just kind of clip it off because it is bound on here with an acrylic binder, so it's not that hard to remove even though it looks like it would be. All right, so I have all 4 sides done. And then the thing I need to do is I need to adhere my seashell on this. Now you can put it dead in the center, you can put it wherever you want. I'm going to drop this one in the center. Now, I'm pressing down on this right now. That's not going to be enough to keep it in place with this because the glass beads are pretty dense. But what I have done is given myself a little spot, a little indicator. I also gave myself a little ridge of where I need to put just a blob of this. See, you got a blob right there. So what I'm going to do now is take my seashell, and I gilded these seashells myself. There's plenty of videos of me doing them. You'll see them on Facebook and on Instagram. Check them out. But I do a bunch of gilded seashells every year when I come back from one of my vacations. And these I did in lemon gold. That's why this gold is so very yellow. But then I put that little glob of the bead gel in there to grab onto the shell. And that really works nicely. So now I'm going to carefully push this over to the side. And you'll see that's exactly how I did this one. Now I've centered that one. I put this one at an angle so I can hang this on a catty corner like this. The only thing I have left to do, and if you look at this nice and closely, you'll see all that little bit of gold dust, all our mica, all our gold glitter in there, and those glass beads, so it becomes really beautifully reflective. And I love this. So now the only thing I have left to do is to put a cord on here. Now I have some leather cording. You could use satin ribbon. You can do whatever you want. If you want, this shell happens to have a little hole in the back. I could stick a holly sprig in there if I wanted to make it super Christmassy. If you want to make this something that is year-round, don't pick seasonal colors. Pick whites and neutrals. All right, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to create a hanger. And that's not hard. Staple gun, leather cord. There we go. It's so not hard that I screwed it up on the first time because I didn't center my staple gun well. So I'm going to pop that staple out. Go. I do want to staple this up just a little more because I want a little extra security on there. There we go. Now I'm going to come back. Now you can choose how long you want to make this. You can make it so it hangs over a doorknob. You can make it so it hangs on a hook. If you don't want it long at all, shorten it up. I'm going to make mine long enough to make sure it can go over a doorknob. And there you go. I'm going to trim off the extra. Now, if you don't find that your staple gun's going in quite far enough, put a little glue on it. It's just that glue is not strong enough to handle this on its own. Now, if you don't like how it's hanging, now it hangs a little awkwardly like this right now because the way it's weighted, but if it hangs up against something, it hangs just fine. Work your hangers the way you want them. I love this. I think this came out so beautifully. I am really, really super pleased with this. We're going to let this dry. I got more shells set aside to do other things, and we'll be good to go.